Hello everyone and welcome to a new coding tutorial. Today we are going to be talking about guard clauses in JavaScript. If this is your first time in my channel, please like, share and subscribe. Leave a comment below because it helps the algorithm recommend my videos to other people. And let's get started with today's video. What are guard clauses? Now, when writing JavaScript, there are a few things you could do that could make your code look even better and more readable plus shorter when writing. So let's discuss what guard clauses are. Guard clauses allow you to return a function early if a condition is met or if a condition is not met. So it uses conditions to return a function early based on whether they are met or not. And now we are going to discuss how this can help you in your JavaScript code and how it could make you write better code in general. So the first thing we are going to be looking at, this tutorial is really going to be short and we'll soon be done with it because this is something that you could learn and apply to everywhere in your code. We will look at this function called add two values, and it takes in two arguments, a and b, and console.logs a plus b. First of all, guard clauses helps you sometimes, prevent unnecessary behavior in your application by returning it early instead of continuing to run the program. So in this case, we assume that a and b are numbers, and when you add them together, they should give you a result which is also a number. But what if the user passes in a string right here in this function? Now, as we know with JavaScript, it wouldn't exactly throw an error if the user passes in a string here. Instead, it will try to concatenate the string together to give us something because we are still adding them. And JavaScript is very liberal. And since we didn't set any types here, it would concatenate them together and, give us an answer. But the answer wouldn't be quite what we would expect from a function that adds two numbers. So let's look at how do we return this function early to make sure that that doesn't happen. Welcome. We'll introduce a guard clause into this function. Let's write another one and see how we'll do this. So let's say const add two values, but now I'll call it 2. And you see how tab 9 helps me when writing this. So it says a plus b, same thing. And right now, before I console.log the values out, I simply want to introduce a guard clause. So here's how you simply write one. Same thing you would normally do. So you say if type of, so right now I'm checking for type of, and I'll say a string, but now I don't want it like this because I want to say if a is not equal to a number, or b is not equal to a number, I simply want to return false, or I could simply just return. And now I could go down here and say console.log a plus b. And I really like using tab 9 because it helps me, write code faster, like you saw here. Yeah. So you see that here we wrote a conditional statement that checks the type of A and the type of B. And if the condition is not met there, it simply returns the function. If you're new to JavaScript, then you should know that when you put a return statement, it automatically stops the function from running there and the rest of the things under it won't be executed. So additional knowledge if you didn't know that before now. So we put a return statement here and it quickly exits our function for us. There will be some cases where you would want this to return a function or return something else if the condition is not met, and you could simply add it here in this particular case. Now we've discussed how guard clause helps you address unnecessary behaviors in your application and how it helps you prevent those behaviors. Right here is a function we have called verify user. Now this verify user function takes in one argument. It's called user. And based on that argument, we want to do things or not do things in this function. So first we check if user, meaning if the user exists, if this user exists, and then we simply want to, do these things inside of it. Else, if the user doesn't exist, we want to just return out of this function. But even when the user exists, we still want to do some conditional, statements to know what to do based on what the user role is. So first, we have a user role of admin. So if the user role is equal to admin, what we want to do next is console.log, congratulations, this user has been verified. So this is the only right one. We want to check that the user is an admin. The user, to use this function, the scenario is that the user needs to be an admin. So the next thing we are checking is else if the user.role is equal to staff, we simply want to say user do not have the right permissions. And else, if the user is equal to anything but admin, we just want to say user needs to be an admin. And then we return here, like we mentioned. Let's look at how we could use guard clauses to make this even shorter, make this simpler to understand, and reduce the line of code, make it cleaner. Let's write another one. Const verify user, and I'll just say user2. So here I'll pass in user like this. And first, I just want to take what we did above here, which is we checked for user, and inside of here we did this. But right now, I'll just negate this and return out of this function if user doesn't exist. So let's say if not user, we could simply just return. Now, the next thing I want to do is to check that the user is a staff. And if the user is a staff, I want to simply just return out of this function. So let's go. So I could say if user.role is equal to staff. Yeah, I'll just return console.log and I'll say user do not have the right permissions. Tab 9 completes things for me. And next, I just want to check that the user is not an admin. So if the user is not an admin, which is something we had right here in this final else statement here, where we said else user needs to be an admin. If the user is not an admin, I simply want to say if user.role is not equal to admin. Yeah. So console log, we want to just say user needs to be to be an admin like this. Now we have everything written out here. Next thing we could just do is to go ahead and write console.log inside of here. I'll say congratulations. User has the right permissions like this. Now you could see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines of code, and we effectively reduce 16 lines of code to 6 lines of code right here with guard functions. So you see how it helps us make our code shorter, and at the same time we are doing the same thing and achieving the same results. But this seems easier to understand. First of all, if not user, I want to return out of this. If the user's role is a staff, I want to console.log user do not, do not have the right permission. And if the user's role right here, is not an admin, I just want to console.log user needs to be an admin. Finally, I want to console.log congratulations, user has the right permissions. So it's simple. If it has been able to get through all these steps and it didn't return out of this function, it means the user is an admin. So we do not have to write an if statement that says if user again. We could just do what we want the admin to be able to do right here. So this is what guard clauses is, and make sure you apply it in your codes to make it look cleaner and shorter this way, and also help you avoid unnecessary behaviors in your application. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, subscribe, and comment below telling me you liked it. It helps the YouTube algorithm to recommend the video to more people who are likely to watch and learn. See you in some other video. Bye.